Hello, I'm Betty Swann, and welcome to our show, Wisdom in the Night, where you get help for the tough decisions in your life. Tonight I have a great guest. He's an artist and a management consultant. Welcome, Job Tibay. This is just great to have you on.
Thank you.
I'm very interested in all that you've done with your life. I think you've done a lot.
Thank you, Betty. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, kind of tell me your background. Where are you from? How'd you end up in New York?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. I grew up there. I'm eldest of three.
Where in the Philippines?
Manila, Philippines.
Okay.
And then in 2005, we moved here to New York.
Your whole family?
Yes, my whole family. Although my parents are back in the Philippines now for several different reasons, business, but I have one of my sisters here, and the other one is still back in the Philippines also. So, yeah, moved here in 2005, went to school, worked, and in 2012 got married, and now just working in the city. So I work as a management consultant for a tax, audit, and advisory firm. And I'm also an artist, and I just recently had my solo show.
Your solo show?
Yes.
How was that?
It was amazing, completely unexpected. It was called Out of the Blue, really for several different reasons. Out of the blue because I wasn't expecting that God would bring me to that point where I would actually have my solo show right in the heart of New York City. You know, kind of like some people call this the art capital of the world.
Oh, really?
Yes. So Out of the Blue, and then I worked with, the theme for that show was blues. So, yes,
and
it was amazing.
Kind of give me an idea about your paintings. What do you try to express in them?
So the genre is abstract expressionism. So it's
what is that?
It's not a realist. So when you look at it, it could be a series of just paint strokes, or a different series of grids. Well, at least my style, I use grids. I use brush strokes that are just like fluid and flowing. And when I moved here, I became really interested in using a substrate or a surface that represents my heritage, my roots, which is the Philippines.
Yeah, like
so
what was that? What was it?
The fabric that I use is called cinnamai. It's made of abaca fiber, made from the trunk of a banana palm that's native to the Philippines. And which is the best thing about it too, it's not just from the Philippines, but the bulk of this tree comes from where I actually was born in the Philippines, a province in the Philippines, which is Bicol. So it's amazing how it actually also represents where I was born exactly.
So you're really kind of expressing you.
Yeah.
Through this.
And what I love about it is no matter what I paint, I could be trying to go through different horizons in my paintings, but my feet is still firmly planted where I'm from. So that's what I love about it, representing the Philippines, but at the same time venturing into new horizons and new heights with my painting.
How'd you get started doing all of that?
Funny you asked, I was laid off. This was
so you didn't start out doing this as a child or a teenager or a young college boy?
I did, but I guess I started pursuing it more kind of full-time after I got laid off. But when I was a kid, I painted when I was a kid. I remember back in college, my parents had a home renovation, and none of the home decor, the paintings sort of fit what we had. So I just thought, I'll just paint new ones to fit the new home renovation.
How old were you when you did that?
17?
Yeah.
16, 17, or 18,
just
around that
decided
time.
I can do that?
Yeah. So interestingly, the decor was all about blue also. I guess I could say that my favorite color is blue. So, and then I painted several different paintings to match the home decor.
Did your mom like them?
Yes. Well, it stayed hanging, so it was good. Yeah. So,
great.
But yeah.
And so now this thing about being laid off, what year was that?
This was in 2015. Pretty recent.
So you just really got into it
Yes.
like 2
pretty
years
recent.
ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Although I started experimenting with the cinema fabric in 2014, but really wasn't able to focus more on it until I got laid off. So it's funny how God allowed that to happen for me to be able to really sort of focus myself on honing my art, my craft.
You wouldn't have been able to do that if you were having to take care of a job and provide for your wife.
Exactly. So I was laid off for 9 months, and in those 9 months, I was able to.
Your life changed.
Definitely, definitely. If you asked me at the beginning of 2015, after I got laid off, if I would have a solo show in about a year and a half, I would be like, "You got to be kidding." But obviously, God works in ways we can't see.
So how many paintings did you do in that year and a half?
I would say close to 50, 60. Because in the solo show, I exhibited about 35 paintings, and I didn't put up everything that I have.
Did you sell any?
Yes, yes. We sold a good number of paintings, enough to be able to raise funds for the nonprofit that we partnered with for that show.
Well, great. So you helped them at the same time that you were expressing yourself with your work.
Yes,
right?
I've always just believed that God allowed me to venture into the art world, definitely for a reason to help build His kingdom. So, yeah.
So, like, explain, there's people watching that when you say kingdom, they don't even know what that means with God. What does that mean?
It's a kingdom of God. It's God's peace, God's plans for us coming down, being real in our lives.
Is it like different from regular life, or does it work within regular life?
It definitely works within regular life, and that's the beauty of it, is that God transforms our regular life into so much more meaningful. He gives us a purpose of why we are here on earth, and that gives us a reason to live. He is my reason to live. So.
Now, can anybody have that?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a free gift. It's a free gift. You just have to respond.
How do you get it?
You simply ask. God says, "Come to me, all you are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He says, "Ask and you shall receive."
So when did you do that?
So my walk with God started with my parents. So my parents are great Christian parents, but like I said, my walk started with them. I was sort of like a backseat Christian. So they're Christians. So I sort of just rode with them. But it wasn't until I moved to the States, where I became sort of away from my parents, because we were in different states also, that I actually started to have my own personal journey with God. Started sort of asking the questions, wrestled with the questions, struggled with them.
What did you wrestle with? What kind of things?
Like, do I really believe this? Are you really real? The things that your promises in the Bible, are they real? How does it resonate with me? So those several different questions like that about my belief in God, I wanted to be full on sold out with my belief with Him. So those questions, I heard from someone that you don't I forget who, but don't run away from these questions. But in fact sort of go deeper.
How long did it take you from starting all of those questions to really feeling like, okay, I know, I think I understand, I think I get this?
So, well, Betty, I don't think I've answered all of the questions, but I think I've gotten to a point where God, was just was so faithful, revealing Himself in every single way. I would say about 2 to 3 years, just constant pursuing. I wasn't really sort of trying to sort of run away, but just sort of just searching, constant asking people the questions.
Yeah, there are a lot of people watching this show that have no faith at all. They've never had faith. They've never had parents that had faith or friends that had faith. And yet they hear you talking about something that sounds appealing, because I can tell you're a very peaceful man. And a lot of people are looking for peace. They just are, their life's so full of stress, or they've been through so many bad experiences, and they didn't have Christian parents. What would you tell a guy that's listening to you and really kind of leaning in, thinking, no, I think that guy is hitting something in my own life. I know you said just say, God, I would like to have it too, but is there more to it than that, or?
Well, I'll speak from my own personal experience in this. You know, I did come to God, but I was also surrounded with people. You know, I made it a point to reach out to people around me to just say, you know, what am I struggling with? And I remember praying to God, Lord, send me men who will walk with me in my walk with you. Send me men who will help disciple me. You know, that I remember really praying that prayer and asking, because I saw that need in my life where I needed men to rally around me, kind of like, you know, like sort of fire helping burn more when you're surrounded by men. So that's what really helped me in my walk with God. You know, surrounding myself with men who
were they your age or older, or what?
A little bit older. You know, but what I've learned is just not sort of limit myself also in just people who are in the same age. You know, I tried to learn from people who are older than me, because definitely they've gone through more in life, but also not limit myself to just the ones in my age, but also hear from those who are younger, because, you know, God speaks through anyone.
Right.
So.
You know, I heard someone say one time, you need 3 kinds of people in your life. You need someone who's more mature than you are,
yes,
to challenge you to come on up. You need a running buddy who's about where you are, and you can encourage each other and challenge each other. And then you need someone who's coming along behind you for you to bring up. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. I think you can apply that in your personal life, in your professional life, and obviously in your walk with God.
How would you do it in your professional life?
So professional life. So in the company I work for, they really advocate mentors in your in your professional life. You know, look for a mentor within the company that will help guide you. And then also, so you have a project team. You know, that's the second group of people they were talking about, where you actually do your professional life with. And then in the professional life, then we're also encouraged to have counselees, people that we counsel, that we mentor. So it follows that same logic that you are.
And this is in an accounting firm?
It's in an, I would call it a consulting firm. It's because it is an accounting firm, but it's all within consulting, professional services.
Well, Job, that's a pretty special company.
It is. It is.
You don't hear about companies doing that. Okay, more and more you do, but not to the level you're talking about. What made them start doing that?
Just years, I believe, of experience and seeing the value of having people guide you all through your professional life. Because, you know, a lot of these mentors have like years and years under their belt.
What would you say is the best advice one of those people has given you? Something that you really took in?
That's a good question. Really just about hard work, you know, because that's biblical too. Like, it's just not, you know, like that hard work will really pay off. But they do believe in balance, you know, so even though you say hard work, but you neglect all the other things in your life, then your hard work really, you know, what is it for if you neglect your family? What is it for?
Yeah, when you're talking about priorities like that, I know they're so important, and like you said, you can get so caught up in work that becomes your only priority. What, as a young man, what are your priorities?
Number one, as a Christian, my top priority is God. Second is I'm married. That would be my wife.
How long have you been married?
We've been married for 4 years now.
Oh, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
for 4 years. So second would be my wife. When we have a family, 3 would be family, but now it would be my work. And then I'm involved in ministry as well. So that
So
would be,
ministry comes after work and family.
for me at least, yes.
No, I've heard that that's the
Yes.
way it's supposed to be. Sometimes people get that out of order.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of ministry do you do?
I'm involved in the worship music ministry.
Do you sing?
I do. I love to sing. Yeah.
You do? How did that come about?
I believe I got it from my mom. You know, I grew up watching her sing. So
She have a beautiful voice.
oh, she does. She's great with harmony. She's the one who taught me, you know, how to listen for parts.
You
So,
can hear them?
yes.
Well, now that's a talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
That must help you if you're involved in music ministry. You know what to listen for.
Yes, I mean, I've worked with people who helped train my ear as well. You know, how to listen and just the different parts within music.
What do you think is God's destiny for your life? Do you know yet?
I know so far, you know, so I think right now at my stage in my life, I would go about it in two ways. One is as a person, and the other one is me as a married man. So it would be a purpose for me and my wife.
Okay, so kind of explain that.
So as a person, I know that God has called me in the business world, at least for most of my life. But until recently, like I mentioned about maybe 2 to 3 years ago, God has slowly unfolded His purpose for me in the arts. This is evident by just the open doors that He has opened for me in just getting sales for my art. And I think just for this year, in fact, 2 major doors just opened where, you know, I will be part of the largest art exhibit in the world.
What?
So
What is that?
It's called New York Art Expo. It's the largest in the world. They hold it here once a year in New York.
And you've been asked to be a part of it?
You apply to be part of it,
Oh,
and then you
okay,
get accepted
okay.
if
And were you
you pass.
accepted?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
So it's
now, how do you
exciting.
get accepted? They have to look at your work.
Yes, they have to look
Do
at
you
your
have to
work.
have a portfolio?
They have to look at your work, and the other one I can't name the organization yet.
Right, that's okay.
But we are talking about. So this organization is a premium luxury department store in New York City on Fifth Avenue. We're talking about having some of my artworks on display for 3 to 4 months. So that's an exciting opportunity.
Up until 2015, you were a consultant
Yes.
and not an artist.
Not
Just-
a full-time artist.
No,
Yes.
just for your own personal
Yes,
pleasure,
correct.
I guess,
Yes.
right? And then something bad happened that turned out to be the best thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, what would you say to someone who's right now just had something like that happen?
I would say to not give up. You know, God can turn your ashes into beauty. God uses even the most miserable things, the most tragic of things, for something so wonderful and so good.
Now, how can He do that?
He is almighty. He is all powerful. He's gracious. He's compassionate. Yeah.
And it's just what He does. He takes trash and turns it into treasure,
He's
right?
in the business of doing that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
redeeming.
Exactly.
You know, I think about the whole Bible is about redemption.
Indeed.
It is. And God, I think He delights in taking something that looks like the biggest mess, the most hopeless situation, and then turning it around.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a person or a situation.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%
okay,
agree.
well, let's go back and think about who has mentored you in wisdom for the art world, for where you're going. Like, are there people mentoring you in the business end of art? Or
So, in just about 2 to 3 years since I really started with this, you know, I've been talking to one of the greatest artists I know in the city, alive and well, successful, in fact. His name is Mark. You know, he's very encouraging with how to go about with art. I think one of his main advice is to keep painting whether you feel like it or not. Do not give up on painting. So even though you have some work to be done here, when you get home, try to find time.
Do you do that?
I try my best to do that, yes. So,
and can you see what he's talking about?
I definitely see what he's talking about, because I've seen that where if I've taken a long time of just not painting, then when I start painting again, it's almost like trying to build myself back up from scratch.
Very interesting. I would imagine that piece of advice could transfer to just about anything.
Yes.
Whether it's learning to play an instrument that you would like to be good at, and you've got a long way to go to be good, and just pick it up a little bit. I'll tell you what I heard one time. I want to know what you think about this. I read a thing that said 15 minutes a day on any subject will make you an expert in 5 years. Wow. Would you agree with that?
Sure. You know, I think we become what we do constantly, right? Our brains, we have neurons that really sort of transform how we think and who we are. And I think that when you form that habit of what you really want to be good at, then you become an expert. So.
Well, I'm just sitting here listening to you thinking about, here's a man that is an accountant, well, consulting in accounting. Then you're a worship leader, so you sing and you have a beautiful voice. Then you paint.
Yeah.
And your wife, is she an artist?
She's an artist as well. She's a dancer.
Oh, wow. What kind?
She did modern dance. Yes.
Here in the city? In
the city, in Europe. So before we met, she was dancing professionally in the Netherlands with her twin.
She has a twin?
She has a twin.
Oh, wow. Do they look alike?
Yeah.
All right. So how did you meet her?
Through a Bible study, in fact. Although they were just visiting at that time, but one of our common friends brought them to the Bible study, and that's how we met.
Here in Manhattan?
Here in Manhattan. And that's how we met, and then didn't see her after about a year. She came back, and then that's when we started talking again.
So the first time you met her, did you perk up when you saw her? Or
I thought she was very pretty, so.
Yeah, and then a year later when you saw her, what'd you think? There's that girl again?
There's that girl again, yes. So.
And this time I'm going to say something or do something?
Yes,
yeah?
indeed.
How long did you guys go together before you got married?
We dated for about a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you think that was a good time? That amount of time?
Yes, you know, because I think I was already at that point when you're not just dating for dating's sake. You know, you really have to be purposeful. Why are you dating? You know, you're dating to look for someone to marry. So, and when we got to that point, and obviously I had to ask God also, like, Lord, is this what you want? And He spoke to me in one of the services. It was very clear, like, this is the one. So.
What was it that you felt like was the most important in a mate to look for?
When we were still dating, my friends and I called her the prayer girl, because we always saw her in prayer meetings. And for me, that's one thing that I really looked for, someone who is in love with God, and who has a great relationship with God. And obviously, well, you know, good relationship with everyone, with the family. Yeah.
And you look for that, and you notice that?
Yes, I did. I did.
That's another thing I heard somebody say one time. When you get married, you're not marrying just the person. You're marrying their whole family.
Yes, she has a wonderful family.
The uncles, the cousins, and you're going to be with them at Thanksgiving and Christmas and July the 4th. And
oh, yeah.
You better be sure you like them,
Yep.
and you want to be around them, because you are going to be around them, and they're going to have an influence on your children.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that she has a wonderful family, not just her parents, but her cousins, her aunts and uncles, all wonderful. Yeah.
Now, do your parents come over here to see you all, or do you and your wife go over there?
In fact, they were just here for about a month. They just left, yesterday, so they were here. Yeah.
Okay, so is it kind of hard when you are a Filipino, but you're here, but all your relatives and everything is, I guess, back in the Philippines, right?
A good number is still back in the Philippines, but I have a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles here in New York. So it wasn't really, it's a bit hard to be homesick because I have a huge family in here in New York.
You know, you're lucky or blessed, I would
Yes.
say, to have a good family. A lot
Very
of
blessed,
people are
yes.
alone watching this show. Now, what would you say to someone that was watching this show and you wanted to tell them, as you're going in through your life, looking for your purpose in life, as you're looking for a relationship with God, what would you tell them to do in terms of finding purpose and meaning with their life?
Well, I guess maybe two things. First, don't give up on your life. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, don't give up on your life. There is a God who's faithful. There is a God who loves you through and through. He's never going to give up on you. What he started in your life, he's going to complete it. That's one of his promises. And also, I just want to encourage you that you're not dealing with this alone. You're not the only one dealing with something like this. Don't feel like you're the only one. There's so many people out there who can help you. There's so many people out there who are willing to lend a hand and spend time with you. Just reach out, so.
Thank you for coming tonight, Job. This has been really interesting, and I know people have heard things they need to know. For you tonight, you have heard someone say that God's destiny for them and for you can be more than you ever thought it would be. It can be different. It can be something you love to do and would love to do more. And then God can open doors through the strangest ways, even through something like losing your job. Who would ever guess that the greatest thing could come out of that? Amazing. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It wasn't an accident that you turned on the TV. I hope you received some wisdom and that you have a great rest of the night, whether you're going to sleep or you're going to work. I'll see you next time. Bye.